Hey, what's going on everybody? It's ETA Prime back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at some really great accessories for handheld gaming PCs, laptops, and even Android phones. These will work with the Legion Go, it'll work with the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally X, and even an Android phone like the S24 Ultra. These are items that I personally use, and when it comes down to it, I mainly use them when I'm traveling. Usually, I don't want to carry a laptop with me at the same time when I've got a handheld or my Android device that supports some type of desktop operating system or desktop interface like Samsung DeX. So these are the accessories that I use. And first and foremost, something very simple, and it might seem odd to even mention it, but USB Type-C cables. Now, not all of them are created equal, and I've actually been testing two different versions for quite some time. This is the U-Green version, and I've had this one longer than the other one I've been using. I've had this cable for 7 months, haven't had an issue with it. It's a 10-foot cable, it's braided, and it supports 100-watt fast charging. Now I will tell you, with these longer USB Type-C cables, data transfer speeds aren't going to be the fastest, but mainly I use these for charging up devices using a 100-watt PD charger. You can get two of these right now for $18.40 over on Amazon, and for everything that we see in this video, I will leave links in the description. And when it comes to the power supply I mainly use, I've got this Aohi dual USB Type-C 100-watt PD fast charger. This thing's great, super compact. It's only got two USB Type-C ports, and in fact, it'll only do 100 watts out of one of these ports at a time. It doesn't matter which one you have plugged in, but let's say you're charging up two devices at the same time. It can only do 50 watts out of each, so it's going to split that 100 watts up. And just to give you an idea, I've got my watt meter plugged in. We're also using that 10-foot U-Green USB Type-C cable. And if you take a look at the watt meter, in yellow we've got the voltage, in green we've got the amps, and if we multiply those, it'll give us the wattage, but luckily this does it for us. 92 watts out. And of course there will be a little bit of parasitic loss, with the adapter and everything like that. So we're right there, 100-watt PD fast charging with this little thing. I originally picked this up on Amazon about a year ago for $50. They're now up to $72. They do come with a pretty decent cable, but keep an eye out because this company does run sales all the time over on Amazon. And keep in mind, they also offer a 140 and a 200 watt, but I just went with that 100 watt. It's worked out really well. And if you're looking for portable power, there are a few that I can recommend, but the one I've been using a lot recently is the new JSOC 65 watt version. Does have its own built-in USB Type-C cable up top. We've got a couple more ports. We've got another USB Type-C and two full-size USBs. One of the big reasons I've been using this a lot lately is because this is what they recommend for their mod case. So JSOC does make a lot of accessories for the ROG Ally X and the Steam Deck. If you buy their kit, you can get it along with this, and it's going to strap onto the back of the Steam Deck or the ROG Ally X. Give you a lot more runtime. But we've got the Legion Go here. Up front, we've got an LCD display. It's going to give us the battery percentage. It'll also give us the voltage out and amps, so you can actually multiply this. And yeah, this will do 65 watts out. You can also charge this up at 65 watts. So if you're looking for a decent little battery pack, this is one that I can recommend. I also have another one that I picked up on Amazon, but it's a lot heavier than the JSOC version, and that's kind of another reason I wanted to swap over here. It's constructed of aluminum. It's definitely more sturdy, but it is much heavier. If you're a regular viewer of the channel, you know I love using these handhelds in kind of desktop mode, and when I'm on the go, I usually don't have a keyboard and mouse with me. So recently, I added this to my collection. It's the TK01TP from a company known as ProtoArc. They do offer a couple different variants, but this one here has the built-in trackpad. It's got full-size keys. We've got a nice little carrying case, and around back, there's a little stand. You can put your phone in it, and I do use this a lot with the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra and DeX mode. It'll only connect to a device over Bluetooth. It doesn't come with the 2.4 gigahertz dongle, but we've got 3 different Bluetooth modes. So you can actually, on the fly, swap this between 3 different devices. Trackpad is awesome to have here. And again, they do sell it without the trackpad if you were going to use a mouse or something like that. Full-size keys. Once this thing's folded up, you can actually slide it in your back pocket. And I'll just give you a demo here. Up top, we've got 3 different Bluetooth modes. Right now, I've got this connected to the Legion Go. Trackpad, keyboard, everything's going to work great with it. As soon as I press the other key, it's connected to the ROG Ally X. Usually I've got this connected to my phone and one of these devices here. One thing I'd love to see in a future revision is a backlit keyboard. Now, unfortunately, the one with the trackpad doesn't have a backlight. but online I have seen the non-trackpad versions with built-in backlight. So it was a bit odd. I was actually under the impression that this would have the backlight built in when I first bought it, but since it's worked so well, I just kept it and I've been using it all the time. I had my eye on these for a while, and then finally we started seeing coupons. So it's $60 usually, but if you look down there, they've got a coupon for 20 off, and this coupon has been active for a few months now. With that $20 off, I do think it's well worth it if you've got a use for a keyboard like this. Now, if you wanted to pick up the one without a trackpad and you really prefer using a mouse, these guys right here are actually pretty awesome for the price, and these kept popping up in my Amazon feed, so I figured I'd go ahead and pick a couple up. These are not high-end mice whatsoever. They're actually cheaper Bluetooth and 2.4 gigahertz mice, but they do offer some pretty cool color schemes. As you can see, this one's kind of EVA themed, but it doesn't say anything about that over on their website. We know exactly what we're kind of doing with this. I haven't used this one yet, but I've got this one that's actually been kind of my go-to when I'm out and about. Not bad at all for the price. $24 for two of them, and I think you can mix and match the colors on them. Again, it's not a high-end mouse. It does have adjustable DPI. It's got a little bit of RGB up top that you can disable. Can't change the brightness on it or anything like that, but they work well for what it is. And if you're out and about with something like this, let's say you forget it in the hotel room, you didn't lose $80 to $150 on a nice high-end mouse. And again, this works over Bluetooth or a 2.4 gigahertz dongle that comes included right here on the bottom. There's actually two modes for Bluetooth, so you can have two devices connected. You're just going to swap it out on the fly from the bottom, or you can use the dongle. I know for a fact that there are cheaper Bluetooth mice over on Amazon, but this is the one that I've personally been using because it did pop up quite a bit in my Amazon feed. And finally, to kind of tie everything together, when you're on the go, if you're using a device with a smaller screen, phone, handheld, portable monitor, in my opinion, is a must. There are several out there. You can get them for as low as $60 over on Amazon. But the one that I have here is the Inocian, I guess that's how you pronounce it. It's a 15.6-inch OLED 1080p display. These are actually $199 on Amazon with Prime, and they look absolutely amazing. And one of the main devices that I use with this is my Android phone, which just happens to be a Samsung Galaxy. It could be an older one, as long as it's running Samsung DeX. Having a larger screen really does come in handy. Another thing here is just getting that larger display from your handheld, or even connecting, let's say, a Nintendo Switch to this does work out. This thing is super thin. Again, it's an OLED display at 1080p. Only up to 60 Hz, and the cheaper version that I have here does not support touch. They've got one that supports touch, but the price on that is way up. Personally, I can do without it, especially if I'm going to be using a mouse and keyboard. This has mini HDMI and also has two USB Type-C ports, power and display over either one of them. It comes with our magnetic stand, wall charger, USB Type-C, and mini HDMI cable. The magnetic stand system works great. You can put this in basically any orientation, even vertically if you want to use it as a vertical display. Video over USB Type-C. It'll also charge our device while it's plugged in. Now you can power the monitor itself from whatever device you have plugged into it. Let's say you plug in the Steam Deck, but remember, it's going to be drawing more power from that battery. It'll also work with any device that supports HDMI, but again, this is not the touch version. So I've got that mouse connected to my Samsung Galaxy S24. It's got built-in dual stereo speakers, but to tell you the truth, even with, let's say, the S24 here, the built-in speakers on that do get louder than the ones on the monitor. And that's kind of the case across the board with these portable monitors. The speakers are kind of there as an afterthought, but if you do have something plugged in that doesn't have its own built-in speakers, you can definitely hear it if you need to. 1 millisecond response time, 100% DCI-P3, and up to 400 nits of brightness. This thing does look really good. Another thing I wanted to take a look at was how fast we could charge a device up while we've got it plugged in. And for the Steam Deck, it looks like we're at 22.1 watts. This is definitely much better than most of the other portable monitors that I've tested. Those are anywhere from 10 to 15 watts. And the Steam Deck didn't give me any warning about low power input, but as soon as I plugged the ROG Ally X in, this jumped up to 54 watts, so it's actually passing through 54 watts to charge up that battery. I was actually really surprised to see this. And to give you an idea, another really awesome use case scenario would be using your handheld plugged into this to get a larger display. We've got the Steam Deck OLED here, going to a 15.6-inch OLED display. And gaming on this thing is a treat. I've always been a big fan of OLED and AMOLED displays, given, the super saturated colors, really deep blacks, and that's kind of why I opted to go for an OLED when it comes to a portable monitor. But you don't have to go OLED. You could always pick up a cheaper IPS display and still have a really good time with it. And just tying everything together here when you're on the go. Got your handheld. We've got everything battery powered right now using that 65 watt, 2000 milliamp hour battery. Keyboard and mouse connected. You could set this up as a desktop, get some work done, or you can game on it just like it is. So yeah, these were just some of the accessories that I personally been using for a little while now with my handhelds, Android devices, and even laptops, mainly when I'm traveling. But if you wanted to set something like this up at home, it's totally possible to do. And if you're interested in any of this, I'll leave links for everything we took a look at in the description below. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. And like always, thanks for watching.